Hello everybody, welcome back to the Panel by Panel Comics YouTube channel with me, your host Jay. Today is my buy or sell video. Should have came out yesterday, but it's probably going to come out on Saturday because of a busy travel week. But I have 5 books that were new this week for April 29th, and I'm going to tell you if you should buy them or if you should sell / save your money. But before we get any further, if you guys are interested in comic book content, you've made it to the right place. We're so close to 60 subscribers, so go ahead, hit that subscribe button, also that like button as well. Turn on those notifications so you never miss out on any of my comic book content videos. We have Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday. I know this is going to come out on a Saturday, but we might have a double upload for Saturday since it is New Comic Book Day on May 2nd. Can't wait for that. But let's go ahead and get started with the first book I'm talking about today. We have Zatanna. This is issue 1, 32 pages, $4 for this comic book from DC. Now, this is a story of the magic side of DC. I've never been big into magic, but Jamal Campbell, he does the writing, he does the art as well for this, and it follows Zatanna becoming the magus. I forget what it's really called. It's really just her becoming like the leader of the magic realm, and she follows this evil spirit that is going from place to place, kind of corrupting the magic world. She feels like there's a hole in it right now, and it's her duty to step up and kind of, I guess, save everybody in a way. And I was trying to get into it. You know, she has her reverse word spell, so you really have to hone in and focus in on the book. And that was a good part of it. It really drew you in. You have to genuinely read the book and like really focus to pay attention and know what they're talking about. But overall, I was kind of lost. I didn't really understand the story, and this feels like it's just going to be an adventure book rather than an actual story. I don't know how much growth we're going to get with this Zatanna character. I really liked what we saw with her in DCKO whenever she fought against Harley Quinn. I thought that even though it was bad to have Harley Quinn kind of give up, she still tested Zatanna and pushed her to her limits that she could personally endure as Harley Quinn. And I think that was huge for the Zatanna character to just get that type of experience. But she fights this character. She talks with all the other Prime Magus, that's what it is. Zatanna's the Prime Magus. Takes this spirit to whatever realm that she needs to just have a one-on-one conversation with it. Try to find out what it is, and it doesn't really work too well. She does a good job, and then she gets talked to from the government. They're like, hey, we need to have a good relationship with each other because we need just somewhat representation and need to know what's going on in the magic world. And you being the Prime Mages, we need to know what's going on. So that didn't go too well, but they reluctantly agreed. And we're basically getting a teaser at the end saying that Zatanna's just going to go from different realm to different realm in the magic world and try to see if she can help them out and get rid of this evil spirits. Personally, for me though, this is a sell. I didn't enjoy it, and I don't think, I'm not a big magic person. I could not get involved in the story. Is that my fault for trying to test it out? I don't think so. Zatanna is one of the biggest characters in DC and has one of the most cult-like followings. I'm trying to see what they see in Zatanna, and I understand like the backwards spells. It really gets you into the book. I just don't like the story. If there was more of a different element to it rather than just going from place to place trying to help this lost spirit or whatever, I would be more into it. But for me personally, it's a sell. So let me guys know what you think of it down in the comments below. Moving on though, we have a Red Roots issue 1. This is from Image Comics. This is oversized. This was 48 pages for the price of $5, and it was a relatively quick read. We open with this guy going and just slaughtering a whole bunch of these security guards to this place where he broke into. And then we get introduced to this high school teacher. And at this point, I was very confused because you go from slaughtering blood to high school teacher with a whole bunch of children. I was like, okay, where are we going to go here? I know the story is supposed to be a murder and a high school teacher somewhat together. But you'll learn that's not really what the story is about. But we go back and forth with these two characters. We find that the security guard is after this mob boss, and he's just after something pretty personal that we'll find out later. And it's revealed that he's been doing all of this to get to find the love of his life. But before we get to that point, we go back home with the high school teacher after having a drink with her friends, and she comes back to her hotel or to her closet, and there is just a dead head in the closet. Like, what in the world is that about? just a dead head in the closet. She obviously freaks out, because who wouldn't whenever they find a dead head in their closet? I mean, anybody in the world would. At least I would think, unless you're a little bit crazy. But she freaks out, calls the cops, and she faints whenever she does it. So they obviously bring her into interrogating. They sweep the place for prints, keep her there just because that's protocol. She understands that. But then we go back to the security guy who's busting his way through, and we find out that he's just doing all this, slaughtering all these people to find the love of his life. And nobody, like, the mob boss is like, really? You did all this just to get to that point of view? And yeah, he's just a fat looking Asian dude that's a mob boss. We didn't really learn more about him, but we know that he works for Delta. And then also the high school teacher goes back home, and she just starts seeing the head everywhere. In her bathtub, just multiple different places. Her bathtub, on the mirror. Her cats are trying to like help her out because they can tell that she's freaking out. Then we find out the photo of the female that the male assassin is there to look for. And then he throws a dart at the head of the mob boss, kills him, and he ends up getting killed himself. And then just out of nowhere, the red roots, I assume, because that's what the title is, consume him, and those other two mob boss or gangsters are just like, what in the world? And then he gets sucked down in, and at the very end, after this lady calls, I believe it was 911 again, starting to lose her mind, there's chopping at the door, boom, 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 and then a monster comes through and says, I think you have something that belongs to me. Really, really interesting book. This was 48 pages. I know it's going to go down after this issue, but this was a really good introductory to the series. Really like the way that it was paced. I like the two different stories. So Red Roots, for me personally, is going to be a buy. If you like the weird murder mystery, a little bit of thriller, hack and slash type of vibe that it had, highly recommend that. And it is oversized, so you're getting your money's worth with 48 pages for only $5. Compared to this book, Justice League Intergalactic Special, this was 48 pages for $6. Now, this was a book that I picked up because I knew it was going to be important for the next Act 2 of the All-In saga. It turns out it might not be too important. I think it's just like their Intergalactic Special, so they throw that special word in there. This just follows a whole bunch of intergalactic heroes, such as Star Sapphire, Dream, Galaxy, and for some reason, Green Arrow is in there. But we open up with Galaxy and Dream talking. Dream is reluctant to join the Justice League because she doesn't feel like she would fit in, and she denies Galaxy's invitation. That got Galaxy pretty upset, but they go out and fight anyways. This war between Naltar, who has abducted this like 6 to 8 or something like that Green Lanterns, and they're out there trying to do that. Green Arrow is having good banner with Adam, and the story continues. They just battle these different heroes. Galaxy is the whole point. At the very beginning, Dream had this, I guess, dream where Galaxy ended up killing all the Green Lanterns and all of the Justice League Intergalactic people in this book, and that's why Dream is like worried. So she later joins in, and they're like, what in the world? Who is this? Why is she here? She's a criminal. She's not supposed to be a part of the Justice League, even though we know now, if you've been following JLU, if Giganta is considering being a member of the Justice League, anybody can really be a part of the Justice League. But Dream, Star Sapphire, Galaxy, they all just have a real big heart-to-heart, specifically Galaxy and Dream, as she's reluctant, but she helps join. But we do see Star Sapphire get abducted by the Witch Queen, who is the overall villain in this one-shot issue. We didn't know if it was Witch Queen, but we had a pretty good assumption that it was her that was doing all this. Galaxy takes a look, sees that she's being controlled by a demon, and they rip the demon out of her. So that was the end of that little mini section. But then they go back to the planet Neltar, find out that the Green Lanterns are the ones controlling everything, and that the Witch Queen has control of all of them. Galaxy gets pissed off after they were saying a lot of stuff about her dead world and how she's the last one, and you ran away whenever they needed you most. You're a failure to your people. You're a failure to your planet. And that ends up pissing her off, and they have to pull her back. And Dream and Adam, specifically Adam, pulls her off and says, hey, you need to stop. This is what they want you to do. This was what Dream was worrying you about. And Galaxy says, well, let's go and face corruption at the source. And then they move on and they go right at the Witch Queen. So Star Sapphire, Dreamer, they all go right at Witch Queen. Beat her pretty easily, I would say. There wasn't too much of a fight, maybe like 4 pages at most. But they win. All the Green Lanterns get freed from their mind control powers. Galaxy and Dream still talk. And they have a really big argument and they are really frustrated with each other. And then whenever they are right head to head, they pass out. And that's where it's to be continued in Justice League Dream Girls, a DC Pride event taking place the whole month of Pride Month in June. To me personally, this is going to be a sell. And it's not necessarily because it was a bad book, but this is a one-shot. And it's a prelude. There was nothing that said that this was a prelude to a story. That's where I felt pretty misled, and it feels like they kind of played me a little bit. That's me personally, because I'm also not going to buy into that series. It doesn't intrigue me enough. I thought this was going to be more important to the Act 2 of All In for the next saga of it, and it really let me down, and I didn't appreciate that, and that's why it's going to be a sell for me, the Justice League Intergalactic Special. Next, we have a Mad Cave book. This is 51, issue number 2. This story is 32 pages for the price of $5. This story picks up with the team investigating a town in the Washington State region. I think it might have been Portland, but somewhere up in the Northwest. Anyways, possible alien sightings after a lady called in about her kid going missing whenever there was a green flash, and it basically took over like the whole, it didn't take over, but it illuminated the sky, and he was really intrigued by that. He's like, oh, let's go find that out. And the mom's like, obviously not, we are staying put. But then whenever they go to school the next day, the kid never ended up coming back. So the two, Grog, and I always forget the main character's name, but they go ahead, Gord. Sorry, not Grodd. Gord. And they go to the school and investigate the principal. He says, it's that time of the year. Truancy just becomes a thing. People are ready to graduate, yada, yada, yada. Basically a lot of BS to get his way out of potential trouble. A teacher overheard it. We'll come back to him later in the story. But then we get more of a deep dive into how Grodd, the alien here, he looks like a human, but he is a real alien. How he came to Earth. He basically got drunk, got in a fight with his lady at his alien planet, had a drunk flying incident, basically got in a spaceship, took off, and got teleported through a black hole and ended up on Earth, became best buds with one of these people that was close to the region. And then the government comes there, shoots him, takes the alien, and they say, hey, you're going to work for us or you're going to die. And we're just going to dissect you and do all these experiments on you. So obviously he goes ahead and works for the government. Then we get this teacher that comes in and says, like, hey, I need to talk to you guys. Tells the whole story. It started a week ago. Whenever that green flash event happened, a bunch of kids started not showing up, but then he saw one just get up and walk out of his class, and he found where the kids were going. They were going out into the woods to meet with this alien creature that comes from the same world as Gord. That was really creepy, really cool. I forget what his name is. Gord and the main character go out there, and it's Clegg. That's his name. Clegg is an alien from the hometown, and he's been abducting these kids, mind controlling them to rebuild his spaceship. And Gord is like, what in the world are you doing? And a lot of these kids are dying because after the effects are too strong or too much for them, they just pass out and die. And Gord he's a good person at the end of the day. He doesn't want to see that happen. So they're like, okay, well, screw you. I'm going on the way home. I was going to invite you, but nah, not anymore. So they get in like a really short skirmish. The main character takes away the kids, tries to hide them, make sure that everything goes well. And then Gord whips out this giant blaster and zaps him out of the sky, killing him. And that is basically the end of this story. All the kids go free, and we get a little, I guess, tease to what the next issue is going to be with that iron giant looking creature, but or machine, whatever it is. But this book 51 from Mad Cave, personally for me, I find it as a ton of fun, and I like the little alien stuff and Area 51, so that's going to be a buy for me. Highly recommend that, and the art is really good from Jock. Kurt Pyers does a good job of making you feel for these aliens and kind of giving you like real world connections that you can kind of make whenever like the government comes in, abducts this person and says you're going to work for us or we're going to kill you or whatever this stuff. And if you're a conspiracy theorist, this book is probably right up your alley. I'm not, but it is still really cool because the aliens in Area 51. But lastly, we got another one shot. This is Final Boss Masked Vigilante. This is issue number 1. This was 24 pages for $4. More of a filler story because Tyler Kirkham was taking a month break with the Final Boss to make sure that it was A1. This is more of a filler story. It's still done by Tyler Kirkham. I do believe he does the art for this as well. No, this is just written by Tyler Kirkham. The art is done by Leon Govender. So we've been seeing in the Final Boss series this masked vigilante character coming in and saving something Blaze, Tommy Blaze, something like that. I forget the main character's name. That issue is such a quick read, sometimes you just forget the names. But we get more of just an in-depth story. She's going to this, I guess, carrier out in the middle of the ocean. And there's basically a trafficking situation going on. And she thinks that they're terrible, goes in, and it's just a hack and slash the whole time. The action shots are cool. This doesn't really advance the story. We don't get a reveal of who this character is, but the shots and the art is pretty good. Not as good as Tyler Kirkham's, but it's still really solid. If you're wanting a story to advance the story, I guess, this issue to advance the story of Final Boss and maybe get revealed who this masked vigilante character is, this book would probably not be for you. So my recommendation is if you enjoy or if you want to get some more details of this masked vigilante character and just see her more in action, this would be a buy for you. But personally, I know overall, this book's probably going to be a sell. At the end of the day, she goes through, kills everybody, frees the people from the trafficking events, and it was cool. It looked good, but overall, that's, I think, 2 buys and 3 sells. Not the best week because it is the 5th week of April, usually a slower week. But let me know, guys, down in the comments what books y'all are buying or selling, and make sure to go to your local comic shop this Saturday. If it is May 2nd, go there today. Just check out what's there, hang out with your local comic shop, support your local publishers, and guys, remember, keep reading those comics panel by panel, and I hope you guys have a great rest of your weekend.